If you are over 60, let me ask you something very important. Do you really know what's hidden inside the fish on your dinner plate? For years, doctors, dietitians, and even TV commercials have told us that fish is one of the healthiest foods you can eat. Eat more fish for your heart, they say. But here's the shocking truth that almost nobody warns seniors about. Not all fish are created equal. In fact, some of the most common fish sitting right there in your grocery store, yes, the ones you may have been eating for years, could now be silently harming your body after 60. Why? Because as we age, our body doesn't process toxins, heavy metals, or even certain fats the same way it once did. The very fish you thought was protecting your heart might be quietly weakening your joints, inflaming your arteries, fogging your memory, and draining your energy. And yet, no one talks about it. The grocery shelves remain stocked, the marketing slogans keep rolling, and millions of seniors keep eating fish that could actually accelerate the very problems they're desperate to avoid: arthritis pain, leg weakness, memory lapses, even heart failure. Now, here's where it gets uncomfortable. If you're still eating certain popular fish, you might already be setting yourself up for years of pain and frustration without realizing it. Imagine eating dinner, thinking you're doing something good for your health. But the next morning your joints feel stiffer, your legs feel heavier, or your brain feels foggier. You might chalk it up to normal aging. But what if it wasn't just aging? What if it was a fish on your plate? That's the uncomfortable truth I have to share with you today. Because while some fish truly are superfoods, rich in omega-3s that fight inflammation, support memory, and keep your muscles strong, others are filled with mercury, chemicals, or inflammatory oils that can make senior health much worse. And sadly, most seniors don't know the difference. No one is pulling them aside to say, stop eating this one, start eating that one. And here's the hardest part. If you keep eating the wrong fish at this stage of life, the damage doesn't always show up overnight. It creeps up slowly, week after week, month after month, until one day your doctor tells you that your cholesterol has spiked, your arteries are stiffening, your memory isn't as sharp, or your knees have lost the cushion they need. And by then, it feels too late. But here's the good news. It's not too late if you start making the right choices today. So in this video, I'm going to reveal the 4 worst fish seniors should never touch again. Fish that look innocent but are loaded with hidden dangers. And then, I'll show you the 4 best fish to eat every single day if you want to protect your heart, your joints, and your brain. The last one will surprise you. It's not salmon. It's not tuna. It's a forgotten powerhouse fish with nutrients so protective that seniors who eat it regularly often report stronger joints, sharper memory, and more energy in their 70s than they had in their 50s. But let me warn you, if you skip this, you'll keep eating the same safe fish everyone else is eating without realizing the price you might pay later. And that would be a tragedy, because the truth is sitting right in front of you today. So stay with me, because the fish you choose or avoid could be the difference between struggling through your 70s and 80s in pain, or enjoying your golden years with strength, clarity, and freedom. Now, before we jump into the list, let me explain why this matters so much after 60. When you were younger, your liver, kidneys, and digestive system could filter out more toxins without much trouble. Your body could bounce back from a greasy meal or a little mercury exposure without showing many signs. But after 60, your metabolism slows, your detox pathways weaken, and your cells don't repair damage as quickly. That means every single bite you take has a bigger impact than it used to. The truth is, fish can either be your body's greatest ally or your silent enemy. The wrong ones are loaded with mercury, chemical pollutants, and inflammatory oils that can worsen arthritis, raise blood pressure, and even contribute to memory decline. But the right ones are like medicine on a plate. Powerful omega-3s that soothe stiff joints, boost circulation, sharpen your brain, and help you stay strong and mobile. So let's count them down together. First, I'll show you the 4 worst fish seniors should never touch again, starting with one you probably have in your freezer right now. And after that, we'll get to the 4 best fish you should eat every single day. At first glance, tilapia looks like a healthy choice. It's affordable, it's available everywhere, and it's often marketed as a light fish option that's good for your heart. You've probably even seen it labeled as a lean protein in grocery stores or on restaurant menus. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Farm tilapia is one of the worst fish seniors over 60 can eat, and it may be doing more harm than good to your body. Why? The biggest issue is that farm tilapia has a completely different nutrient profile than wild-caught fish. Fish in the wild eat algae, small plants, and other natural food sources, which give them a healthy balance of omega-3 fatty acids, the same anti-inflammatory fats that protect your joints, improve memory, and keep your arteries flexible. But farm tilapia are raised in crowded pens and fed cheap corn and soy pellets. That diet flips their fat balance upside down. Instead of being high in omega-3s, farm tilapia are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, here's why that's dangerous after 60. Omega-6 fatty acids in small amount are fine, but when they overwhelm your diet, as they do with tilapia, they cause inflammation throughout the body. And for seniors, inflammation is a hidden enemy behind almost every chronic problem. Arthritis flare-ups, stiff joints, aching muscles, high blood pressure, and even memory problems. One study actually found that eating tilapia could trigger more inflammation than eating a greasy burger or a strip of bacon. Imagine that. Choosing fish thinking you're doing something healthy, but instead, it's acting like fast food in disguise. And the danger doesn't stop there. Because tilapia are farmed in crowded, sometimes polluted ponds, they're often treated with antibiotics and exposed to contaminants in the water. Traces of these chemicals can remain in the fish and end up on your plate. Your immune system at 60 or 70 simply isn't as strong as it was at 30, and constant exposure to these residues can strain your body over time. Here's the part that makes me pause. Tilapia is cheap, easy to cook, and marketed as healthy. So many seniors rely on it as a weekly staple. And every bite could be silently worsening their inflammation, making their arthritis more painful, their legs heavier, and their brain a little foggier. If you've been eating tilapia thinking it's helping you, you're not alone. But now you know the truth. The good news? You don't need to give up fish altogether. You just need to choose the right ones. And when you swap out tilapia for fish rich in omega-3s, many seniors notice a huge difference. Less joint stiffness in the mornings, more energy throughout the day, and even sharper thinking. So, while tilapia might seem harmless, it absolutely deserves its place on this list of the worst fish seniors should never touch again. And if you got a pack of it sitting in your freezer right now, it might be time to reconsider what goes on your plate tomorrow. Now, don't get me wrong, mackerel as a fish family can be incredibly healthy. In fact, some types of mackerel are among the best sources of omega-3s you can find. But here's the catch. King mackerel is one of the most dangerous fish for seniors over 60, and the reason boils down to one word, mercury. Mercury is a toxic heavy metal that accumulates in larger fish as they grow older and feed on smaller fish. And king mackerel, being a large predatory fish, is one of the worst offenders. It sits right near the top of the food chain, which means that by the time it lands on your dinner plate, it's carrying some of the highest mercury levels of any fish available for sale. Now, why does that matter so much if you're over 60? Because mercury isn't just a toxin, it's a neurotoxin. That means it has a direct impact on your brain and nervous system. Seniors are already more vulnerable to memory loss, brain fog, and neurological decline. When mercury builds up in your body, it can accelerate those problems, cause forgetfulness, trouble concentrating, mood changes, and even increased risk for dementia. And the danger doesn't stop at your brain. Mercury also damages your cardiovascular system. It can stiffen your arteries, raise your blood pressure, and increase the risk of heart disease. All issues seniors are already at higher risk for. That means one healthy fish dinner could actually be straining your heart instead of protecting it. The part that worries me most is that symptoms of mercury exposure aren't obvious right away. You don't take a bite of king mackerel and feel sick on the spot. Instead, mercury builds up silently, month after month, year after year. The headaches you've been ignoring, the tingling in your hands, the sudden lapses in memory, you might chalk those up to aging. But what if they're really being made worse by mercury exposure from the fish on your plate? And here's the kicker. Because king mackerel is often sold alongside other types of mackerel that are much healthier, many people don't realize there's a difference. A label that simply says mackerel doesn't always make it clear whether you're buying the dangerous kind or the safe kind. That confusion leaves many seniors at risk without even knowing it. Health organizations like the FDA and EPA have been warning for years that seniors, pregnant women, and children should avoid king mackerel altogether. Yet, it's still widely available and still ends up on dinner plates across the country. So let me be clear. If you're over 60 and you want to protect your brain, your memory, and your heart, cross king mackerel off your shopping list for good. There are much safer, healthier fish you can eat that will give you all the omega-3s you need, without the hidden mercury bomb. When you avoid king mackerel, you're not just making a small diet change. You're actively protecting your brain from toxins that could steal your independence in the years to come. And that's a trade worth making. When you think of shark or swordfish, you probably imagine something exotic, a fancy steak-like cut on a restaurant menu, or maybe a rare treat from a seafood counter. They're marketed as rich, meaty, and full of protein. But here's the truth seniors over 60 need to hear. Shark and swordfish are some of the most dangerous choices you can put on your plate. The problem, once again, comes down to mercury. But this time, it's on an even greater scale. Both shark and swordfish are apex predators. They sit at the very top of the ocean's food chain. That means they eat dozens, even hundreds, of smaller fish over their long lifespans. And every single one of those smaller fish may already contain traces of mercury. By the time shark or swordfish reach adulthood, they've accumulated staggering amounts of this toxic heavy metal. Now, if you were 20 or 30 years old, your body might be able to tolerate a little more exposure. But after 60, your natural detox systems, your liver, kidneys, and gut simply don't clear mercury as efficiently. That means it lingers longer, circulates more freely, and does more damage. And mercury is relentless. It doesn't just pass through your body. It embeds itself in tissues and organs, where it can interfere with your most vital systems. Let's start with the brain. Seniors already face higher risks of cognitive decline, memory lapses, and conditions like Alzheimer's. Mercury exposure accelerates all of that. Studies show that mercury directly attacks neurons, the very brain cells responsible for memory and sharp thinking. That means a diet high in mercury-laden fish like shark or swordfish could literally speed up brain aging, robbing you of the clarity you deserve to keep as you get older. But mercury doesn't stop at the brain. It also damages the heart and circulatory system. Seniors who consume mercury-heavy fish are more likely to experience high blood pressure, stiff arteries, and irregular heart rhythms. Think about that for a second. You may have chosen shark or swordfish thinking it was a strong, protein-packed choice to help your muscles, but instead, you're unknowingly straining your heart and circulation. And then there's your joints and mobility. Mercury promotes chronic inflammation, which directly worsens arthritis, knee stiffness, and even the tingling many seniors feel in their legs or feet. Instead of moving with ease, you're left feeling heavier, slower, and archier, and the fish on your plate could be part of the reason why. Here's the part that makes this so frustrating. Shark and swordfish are sometimes marketed as premium seafood. They're expensive, they're rare, and they're often served in high-end restaurants as a delicacy. But for seniors, they're not a delicacy. They're a danger. You're paying top dollar for something that can quietly strip away your health. That's why health authorities like the FDA, EPA, and even the American Heart Association all strongly advise older adults, pregnant women, and children to avoid shark and swordfish completely. Yet, many seniors don't get the message until it's too late. So if you've ever been tempted to try a shark steak or swordfish fillet, remember this. The risks far outweigh the rewards. After 60, every meal is either helping you age stronger or dragging you down faster. And when it comes to shark and swordfish, the choice is clear. Leave them off your plate for good. If there's one fish that has tricked millions of people into believing it a healthy choice, it's tilapia. Walk into almost any grocery store, and you'll see it proudly displayed as light, mild, and lean. Doctors often recommend it because it's low in calories and low in fat. And many seniors switch to tilapia after cutting down on red meat, thinking they made a wise and heart-healthy decision. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Tilapia may actually be one of the most dangerous fish you could put on your plate after 60. Why? The danger isn't just in the fish itself. It's in the way it's raised. Unlike wild-caught salmon or sardines, tilapia is almost always farmed in massive, overcrowded ponds, mostly in countries with very loose food safety regulations. To keep the fish alive in those filthy, bacteria-filled waters, farmers often pump them full of antibiotics, chemicals, and even hormones. All of that ends up in the flesh of the fish. And when you eat it, you're swallowing those residues too. But that's not even the worst part. Tilapia is shockingly low in omega-3 fatty acids, the very nutrient you're supposed to be eating fish for in the first place. Instead, it has high levels of omega-6 fatty acids, which fuel inflammation in the body. For seniors already battling stiff joints, arthritis, high blood pressure, or memory decline, eating tilapia is like pouring gasoline on the fire. A 2008 study from Wake Forest University actually found that tilapia contains more pro-inflammatory fats than bacon. Yes, you heard that right, bacon. Think about what that means. Every time you sit down to a plate of tilapia, you might be thinking you're protecting your heart. But what you're really doing is cranking up your body's inflammation, increasing your risk of clogged arteries, stiffening your joints, and even making it harder for your muscles to repair after exercise or injury. And here's the kicker that most people never realize. Tilapia from poorly regulated farms often contains dangerous contaminants like dioxins, pesticides, and even traces of banned industrial chemicals. Once those toxins enter your body, they don't just pass through, they accumulate in your fat and organs over time, silently increasing your risk for cancer, liver disease, and heart problems. For someone over 60, when your body is less efficient at detoxing, that's a serious ticking time bomb. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but I've been eating tilapia for years and I feel fine. And that's exactly the problem. Tilapia doesn't make you sick overnight. Instead, it quietly chips away at your health over months and years. The stiffness you feel in your knees, the extra swelling in your ankles, the creeping memory fog, the rise in your blood pressure. Tilapia might be fueling all of it without you realizing. So here's the bottom line. If you're over 60, tilapia should not be on your plate. Not once a week, not even once a month. There are far healthier options that actually heal your body instead of harming it. And in just a moment, we'll reveal those. But first, let's flip the script from danger to healing and begin the countdown of the 4 best fish seniors should eat every single day for strength, mobility, and longevity. When most people think about powerful, health-boosting fish, they imagine salmon or tuna. Rarely do sardines make it to the top of the list. But here's the shocking truth. When it comes to senior health, these little fish are among the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. In fact, sardines offer something that the big-name fish don't: a clean, safe, and concentrated package of everything your body desperately needs after 60. Why? Let's break it down. First, sardines are incredibly low on the food chain. Unlike bigger fish like tuna or swordfish that accumulate mercury and toxins over their long lifespans, sardines feed on plankton and have very short lives. This means they stay naturally low in contaminants, making them one of the safest fish you can eat, even daily. Seniors who are trying to avoid mercury exposure, but still want the brain and joint benefits of fish, will find sardines to be a lifesaver. Second, sardines are a rare source of natural omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA. These aren't just good fats. They're the actual building blocks your body uses to repair cell membranes, reduce inflammation, and keep your heart rhythm steady. Research has shown that seniors who regularly consume EPA and DHA have lower risks of heart disease, better brain function, and even reduced joint pain. Instead of relying on fish oil pills, which can be poorly absorbed or oxidized, sardines deliver these fats in their natural, food-based form. But that's just scratching the surface. Sardines are also one of the richest natural sources of vitamin B12, which is crucial for energy, nerve function, and protecting against age-related cognitive decline. Did you know that nearly 20% of adults over 60 are deficient in B12? This deficiency is strongly linked to fatigue, memory problems, and even depression. A single serving of sardines can provide more than 300% of your daily requirement. And then there's vitamin D, another critical nutrient that many seniors lack, especially those who don't get enough sunlight. Sardines pack an impressive dose of vitamin D, supporting bone strength, immune health, and muscle function. If weak legs, frequent colds, or brittle bones have been creeping into your life, this is one food that can help rebuild your foundation. Now, here's a hidden gem: calcium. Unlike most other fish, sardines are often eaten with their tiny, edible bones. These bones are soft and safe to chew, but they're packed with calcium that helps protect you from osteoporosis and fractures. For seniors, this is a priceless advantage, because keeping your bones dense and strong can mean the difference between staying mobile or being sidelined by a fall. Still not convinced? Sardines also contain high-quality protein to support muscle mass. After 60, your body naturally loses muscle every year unless you actively fight it with protein and strength training. Including sardines a few times per week gives your body the amino acids it needs to repair, rebuild, and stay strong. Here's the emotional part. Seniors often shy away from sardines because they're old-fashioned or not as glamorous as salmon or cod. But think about this. Your parents and grandparents may have relied on sardines to stay strong during harder times. They understood something we've forgotten: that the most humble foods can also be the most powerful medicines. By ignoring sardines today, many seniors are missing out on one of the cheapest, safest, and most effective health foods available. So, if you want a food that protects your brain, strengthens your bones, eases your joints, and keeps your heart pumping smoothly, all without the toxin risk of larger fish, sardines deserve a permanent place on your plate. If there's one fish that almost every doctor, nutritionist, and longevity researcher agrees on for seniors, it's wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Not farmed salmon, not generic salmon from unknown waters, but specifically wild Alaskan salmon. And here's why this choice is so powerful for anyone over 60. First, let's talk about omega-3 fatty acids, because they are the cornerstone of healthy aging. Salmon is one of the richest natural sources of EPA and DHA, two types of omega-3s that your body desperately needs but cannot make in sufficient amounts. Why is this important after 60? Because omega-3s directly reduce chronic inflammation, the same low-grade fire in the body that drives arthritis, stiff joints, memory loss, cardiovascular disease, and even depression in older adults. Seniors who eat omega-3 rich fish like salmon at least twice per week have shown in multiple studies to maintain stronger memory, better walking speed, and improved grip strength compared to those who don't. That means less weakness, less wobbling on your feet, and more independence. But omega-3s aren't the only gift salmon gives. It's also loaded with high-quality protein, about 22 to 25 grams in a typical 3-ounce serving. That's exactly the kind of protein your muscles need to fight off sarcopenia, the age-related muscle loss that robs seniors of their strength. Unlike red meat, salmon's protein is clean, easy to digest, and comes without the artery-clogging saturated fat. In fact, seniors who substitute salmon for red meat just 2 or 3 times a week see measurable improvements in cholesterol levels, blood pressure, and even blood vessel flexibility. And then there's astaxanthin, a unique antioxidant that gives salmon its deep pink-orange color. This isn't just for looks. Astaxanthin is a powerhouse nutrient that helps protect your eyes from macular degeneration, shields your skin from premature aging, and boosts your brain's resilience against oxidative stress. Think of it as an internal shield that slows down the clock, especially for the tissues that normally break down fastest after 60. Now, here's where many seniors go wrong. They buy farmed salmon instead of wild-caught. Farmed salmon are raised in crowded pens, fed unnatural diets, and exposed to chemicals and antibiotics. The result? Less omega-3s, more omega-6 inflammatory fats, and a higher risk of contaminants that stress the liver and joints. Wild Alaskan salmon, on the other hand, grows naturally in cold, clean waters, feeding on a natural diet that makes its nutrient profile unmatched. So if you're looking for a fish that keeps your heart young, your joints lubricated, your muscles strong, and your mind sharp, Wild Alaskan salmon deserves a permanent place on your plate. Grill it, bake it, poach it, just don't fry it. And if possible, aim for 2 servings per week to get the full anti-aging benefits. This is the fish that researchers consistently point to when they study longevity in places like Japan and coastal Mediterranean regions. And if you're over 60, eating salmon isn't just food. It's like giving your body a prescription for vitality without the pharmacy. Now, if I told you that one of the best anti-aging foods for seniors costs less than a cup of coffee, comes in a can, and is small enough to fit on a cracker, you might laugh. But sardines are exactly that. These tiny fish are often overlooked, but they pack one of the highest nutritional punches in the entire seafood world. And for seniors over 60, they're practically a lifesaver in a tin. Let's start with a big reason. Sardines are incredibly low in mercury. Because they're so small and at the bottom of the food chain, they don't live long enough to accumulate dangerous levels of toxins the way bigger fish do. This makes them one of the safest fish for seniors to eat regularly without worrying about poisoning their body with heavy metals. In fact, sardines are often recommended by nutritionists as one of the cleanest sources of ocean protein. Next, let's talk about bone strength. After 60, your risk of osteoporosis skyrockets. Bones become brittle, and one bad fall can mean a hip replacement or months of painful recovery. Sardines are one of the few fish where you can safely eat the tiny bones inside, and those bones are loaded with calcium and phosphorus. Just one serving can give you more calcium than a glass of milk. Imagine strengthening your bones every time you enjoy a simple sardine salad or sardines on whole grain toast. That's real food medicine at work. Then there's omega-3s. These essential fatty acids are like oil for your joints and memory. Seniors who eat omega-3 rich fish like sardines have been shown in studies to experience less joint stiffness, reduce inflammation, and even sharper brain function. Some research even suggests omega-3s may help protect against Alzheimer's progression. That means sardines aren't just helping you move better. They may be protecting the very memories that make life meaningful. But here's something most people miss. Sardines are one of the richest sources of vitamin D and B12. Vitamin D is crucial for seniors because it helps your body absorb calcium, maintain balance, and even boost your mood. Meanwhile, B12 fights fatigue and supports nerve health, keeping you energized and mentally sharp. Low B12 is extremely common after 60, leading to brain fog and tingling in the hands and feet. Sardines are one of the simplest, tastiest ways to fill that gap. And let's not forget about protein. Each little sardine is packed with clean, high-quality protein to preserve muscle mass. Seniors who eat more protein-rich foods like sardines tend to maintain mobility, strength, and independence much longer. The best part? Sardines are inexpensive, shelf-stable, and easy to prepare. You don't need to fire up a grill or spend hours cooking. Just open a can and enjoy. But, and this is important, always choose sardines packed in water or olive oil, not those drenched in cheap soybean or vegetable oils, which can undo their anti-inflammatory benefits. So while most people wrinkle their noses at sardines, seniors who know are quietly gaining stronger bones, sharper brains, and healthier hearts, just by adding a few to their weekly routine. Sardines may be tiny, but they are nutritional giants, especially for seniors. Unlike large predatory fish, such as tuna or swordfish, sardines are low on the food chain. That means they don't accumulate dangerous levels of mercury or toxins. Instead, they pack pure, concentrated nutrition in every bite. First, let's talk about omega-3 fatty acids. Sardines are among the richest sources of EPA and DHA, the exact types of omega-3s that your body can use immediately. These fatty acids lubricate your joints, reducing stiffness and inflammation. They keep your blood flowing smoothly, lowering the risk of clots and strokes. And perhaps most importantly, they nourish your brain. Multiple studies show seniors who consume oily fish like sardines at least twice a week have a lower risk of memory decline, dementia, and even depression. Next, sardines are loaded with natural calcium. Unlike most fish, you eat them with the bones, tiny, soft, and safe to chew. Those little bones are pure calcium, perfectly balanced with phosphorus and vitamin D. That makes sardines one of the best natural foods for protecting your bones from fractures. For seniors over 60, this is priceless. A simple fall can turn into months of immobility if your bones are weak. Sardines help fortify them from the inside out. They're also packed with high-quality protein that helps prevent muscle loss, a common issue after 60. Each serving delivers nearly 25 grams of complete protein, fueling your muscles, supporting wound healing, and keeping your immune system sharp. And because sardines are small and wild-caught, they aren't pumped with hormones or antibiotics like farmed fish often are. Another hidden gem in sardines is coenzyme Q10, CoQ10. This is a nutrient your body makes less of as you age. CoQ10 fuels your heart cells, keeping them strong and resilient. Seniors who eat sardines regularly often report more energy and less fatigue because CoQ10 literally powers their cells like batteries. And let's not forget vitamin B12. Sardines are one of the richest sources on the planet. After 60, your stomach produces less stomach acid, making it harder to absorb B12 from many foods. That's why deficiency is common, leading to fatigue, memory lapses, and even nerve tingling. But sardines deliver so much B12 that even if absorption is reduced, your body still gets what it needs to stay sharp and energized. If you've avoided sardines because of the strong taste or smell, try them packed in olive oil instead of water. The flavor is richer, smoother, and easier to enjoy. Mash them into whole grain toast with avocado, mix into a salad, or stir into pasta with lemon and herbs. They're inexpensive, widely available, and shelf-stable, making them the perfect emergency superfood to keep in your pantry. In short, sardines check every box seniors need. Safe, toxin-free, affordable, and overflowing with nutrients that protect the heart, brain, bones, and muscles. They may just be the most powerful longevity food hiding in plain sight. So there you have it. The 4 fish you must avoid after 60, and the 4 super fish that can protect your joints, sharpen your mind, and keep you strong every single day. The choice is in your hands. Every meal you eat either builds your future health, or chips away at it silently. If you're still eating tilapia, king mackerel, or farmed salmon, ask yourself, is that convenience really worth risking your mobility, your memory, or your heart health? On the other hand, just a few servings of sardines, salmon, or trout each week could mean the difference between struggling to walk upstairs or enjoying your independence for years longer. I need to ask you something personal. If we disappeared tomorrow, would you notice? Every video we make takes over 30 hours. No sponsor, no $1 million studio. Just real research, real heart for people who've been overlooked. So if this video helped you, if you learned what your doctor rushed past, if you felt seen, please don't be the silent viewer. Be the reason we're still here tomorrow. Subscribe. This message found you today. But think of the other seniors who are still in the dark, still eating the wrong fish, still wondering why their memory is slipping or their knees ache. You can help them simply by tapping the like button and subscribing right now. That's how YouTube shows this message to others who desperately need it. Be the reason someone else finds this gem today, just like you did. Click subscribe, drop a like, and share this with a loved one, because your health and theirs is too precious to gamble on the wrong fish.